Hello everyone, so let's get back into the sword and hammer, because it's just not enough just to learn the form visually and practice the form, but we must break down the techniques and give some of the meaning behind the motions. So when we start off, we're in a formal horse here, and we notice that we have twin hammers that can fire in all different directions surrounding us. After we come up, we notice now this is the first time that the left hand is opening into a sword, and it's its first block and its second block. So from here we have one block and a second block. And that second block can be used in many different ways and variations, as well as the first block. We notice that the hammer is coming up and meeting, which can meet low, which could come back up once again high. So we can come 1, 2, and up. And those have all different breakdowns, understanding, and techniques behind them. As we're going through the form, I'm going to talk today about the hammers, the twin hammer attacking, the circular hammers. And in that particular motion there, we don't see the left hand come into play within the form. We're stepping down and striking with that. But there's many different ways that that can be done. It could be to where you're blocking, the man might be throwing a punch, and you're coming down with that motion on top. Maybe you miss him, and this comes around to the side of his face. So it could be this type of a motion, to where the man's throwing a punch, you're blocking his punch, maybe you're knocking his guard down, and then you're coming across the side of his face. So it would be like this. Now we know that if we come with this motion here, we could follow through coming on the other side. We know that if we block and we come down on top of the collarbone, or maybe even come down on the top of his face, on his nose, that this could follow up to the side of his ear, or the side of his temple. But in the form, it's a stomp. And the reason why we're stomping at the same time we're coming in is not only to give the power behind the strike, but it's also possibly to step on the man's foot. But you got to remember something. If you step on a man's foot, his first reaction is going to be to back up. So I always like to take it to where we're coming in, and at the moment that we're striking, the foot is going flat to give that power behind the strike. Now we're coming in 1 where we strike, we come in 2 to where we strike. So that particular motion can be to where we're blocking, striking, striking. You could block and strike, and block and strike, right? So that's the motion behind it. But from that comes many other techniques. Am I going to move the man's hand out of the way? Am I going to be moving the man's hand out of the way to be able to open up? Suppose the guy throws a backhand at me, and I block his backhand, I move his hand, and then I come in with that strike. Suppose the guy throws a punch at me, I block that punch, and then wham, I come down on top of his bicep, and then I come around to the side of his face. Suppose I'm able to block and maybe strike the guy with a backhand, and then from that, I move his hand out and I swing it across, instead of dropping that arm. Because you see, we're gaining that circle to come in, because that could be a short circle, that could be a medium, and that could be a wide circle to where we come in. And that's just a quick breakdown today of a particular motion found within the sword and hammer. Thanks.